Hello and welcome back to the Veg Garden. It is the 25th of June 2024 today, and we thought it was time for a bit of a garden update, a bit of a tour, show you a few things that we've got going on and show you what's changed since the last time we were down here. The beds are nice and full. There's even some stuff that is almost ready to harvest, which is kind of cool, but we have got a few gaps as well, and we still have quite a lot of small plants up on the deck. So I think that's where we'll start, give you a bit of an update over that side, and then come back down here a bit later on. I almost didn't see you hiding behind the sofa there. What you doing?
So many weeds. I'm weeding our new blueberries. So the first 4 over there, I've already weeded and mulched, and then we went and got some more.
So when these are done, they'll look a bit more like this. There's still a few more weeds to pull out.
Well, they've come up since I weeded.
No, I know, that's what I mean. We've got to pull these ones out because they have come up recently. So whilst Kylie's doing some blueberry admin, I'll just give you a quick tour of the things that we've got going on up here, which will certainly be interesting if you saw the last garden update, because you'll be able to see how far things have come. But hopefully it'll be interesting even if you haven't seen that video. But I'll put a link up here so you can go and check it out if you want to. Back then we had quite some disappointments, but I think now we are much happier because the amazing weather here and the long sunny days, the heat and plenty of water have really helped things kick on. And so now things are looking pretty good up here. So we have our first Cosmo flower starting to appear. There's another flower in the background, which I think is a zinnia, but the labels have faded slightly, so I can't be 100% sure.
It is a zinnia.
It is a zinnia, excellent. We've got some dahlias. Our vole-proof potatoes have not done as well as the ones down in the garden, but that's probably just because there's less soil, but they're probably going to be ready for harvest soon. We've got something kind of marigoldy here, some lavender, which is flowering, and then a volunteer pumpkin of some kind. Not even sure what that is, but we're just going to let it grow in that container and see what happens. We've got something here which has died and something here which is new. I don't know if it is from the same plant. It could be a new peach tree because this pot used to be stored under the peach tree. We might have a new peach tree growing here. The comfrey is doing well, more potatoes, and then we've got some flowers in the background.
So the one in the front is borage.
It's borage, is it? Ah, very cool. And in the background, something white. And then down here is a future pumpkin problem because we've got loads of these and not a lot of space to put them, and they're probably going to produce quite a lot of fruit. So the pumpkins is definitely something that we're going to deal with in this video. We need to go and have a look at where we can put some of them. We're definitely not going to have enough space, so we're going to have to create some more space to plant some of these guys. But that's all part of the fun of gardening. And ironically, we are now in a position where we have too many things, despite the fact that even just a few weeks ago, we were very disappointed that we wouldn't have anything. So it's funny how things can turn around like that.
It's going to take a while to kill out some of this grass stuff, I think.
Yeah, that's okay.
Should try and use up the rest of that bark this season as well.
Yeah, we can. Well, we're going to try and do that bit down by the top of the raised beds.
Yeah.
I think that will pretty much use it up. So we'll start off down here in the raised bed garden, where we've already had some things that have been planted and harvested, which is pretty cool. And we've done quite a few experiments down here, including some direct sowing and also some indoor germination stuff. I'll let Kylie explain that because she knows much more about it than I do.
So when we did the carrot and parsnip sowing, whenever that was, someone in the comments suggested, because they take so long to grow, we could interplant some radish. So
we did.
Yeah, I very aggressively sowed some spinach and then some radish, and we've thinned both of them once. These are starting to go to seed now, so we'll probably take those out as well. But as you can see, the carrots are doing well. We'll need to thin those at some point as well. But perhaps we didn't do a great job thinning these ones out because most of the tiny ones. But then there's lots of decent sized ones.
Yeah.
We've already got 2 big containers worth that we're going to pickle. I'll just add these to them. So there are some big ones in amongst the small ones. And we could have harvested the leaves to eat in cellars, but we left them a little bit too long. But then I discovered that our chickens love the radish leaves, so they will get all these leaves when we've done washing all of these up. The carrots are doing well, and then the parsnips. Many people said many things about how parsnips need to be fresh seeds. People also said about how they basically test germinate in plastic boxes, in zip bags, etc., etc.
Like on a piece of kitchen paper.
Yeah,
That's
so
damp or
I've
something.
actually tried that, and we got some germination from our old seeds. And if Guy can show you, there's actually one in there from when we sowed the old seeds. But what happened is we made the mistake of taking the boards off way too early when we thought the parsnips had germinated, but turns out they were just weeds. So what I have done, and they've died. There's one there. It germinated in the Ziploc bag, blah, blah, blah. And then when they had a tiny little root on, I was coming out and putting them in. The ones here have died. That one might make it. I'm trying
Mixed
a few
success
things.
with parsnips.
Trying a few things. I did buy some new seeds as well to try those. And I've direct sown some more over there, and I'm keeping a closer eye on the germination. Hello, you coming to help? So we'll see. I keep trying different things until I find something that works.
Yeah, so the radish did really well. The spinach did really well. We harvested a whole load of that. We've got a big 3-litre bag full of it in the freezer, which prolongs the life of it, and it makes it really easy to just grab a handful and chuck it into whatever we're cooking. So that's been really good. I'm hopeful for the carrots. More work needed on the parsnips. So let's move on to the next bed where we tend to put all of the herbs, although there is some echinacea and maybe some calendula in there as well, because I think in the future, Kylie wants to make this a medicinal flower and herb garden. At the moment, it is a forest of rosemary and lemon verbena. So I think I'm going to give these a bit of a trim, and I'll probably dry the rosemary out so we've got some nice dried herbs. There's a thyme plant in there somewhere as well, although that's not so huge, so I don't really need to give it a massive cut back. The lemon verbena, we cut it all back last summer and we dried it to make a tea. We've still got loads of it left. So I think I'm just going to cut this back and stick it in the compost because it is just out of control. A bit like the cat. Macca, what are you doing?
That French breaks, don't blame me.
All right, let me do some herb pruning, and then we'll move on to our final raised bed and tell you what's going on in there. I don't even know where to start.
Start with the thyme.
Well, it's rosemary for a start.
Oh,
So like that. I mean,
Yep,
look at all that. That's
exactly.
insane. Going to need a big jar for dried herbs. Oh, do you want to do an essential oil from it?
I could. Is there enough?
I don't know. I think it would be enough to fill the column.
Collect it and we'll see. Or should I start doing this verbena?
Good.
I do the same strategy on that one.
So I'm taking out all of these old flowering stems just because they end up getting a bit tough. And so they don't chop very well for eating. The flowers look beautiful though. You know how people are always saying they'd happily just watch a video of us weeding the garden? Well, that is what they're getting apparently.
You might want to tell the lovely people what you're planting.
I can. This is coriander. Grown from home-saved seed, maybe. Or maybe just grown from seed. Tried lemongrass before, but it I think didn't like where it was planted, or it didn't get enough water or something. So we'll try this in here and see. Okay, you can go in there, mate. Beautiful. Well, let's see what happens with those later in the year. So do you want to talk us through this last raised bed? Because you've put some transplants in, but also some direct sown stuff.
Yeah. Okay, bear with me a second. One evening, I decided to go a little bit crazy with the direct sowing with some of the seeds that are very old to see if they would germinate, but also to throw in a load of other stuff. These lettuce were transplanted in. The purplish ones we got from the garden centre. Those ones over there are our seeds. And then in here I just went crazy, and you notice a missing section here. This is clearly one of the seed packets is way too old. There's radish coming up in there. I kind of sprinkled some in between the lettuce. These, I think, are self-seeded chili plants. I also put a smattering of spinach along here, which doesn't seem to have really taken. Oh, there's even more chili plants here. Interesting to see if they actually grow. And then I think over that side there's some tiny little beetroots coming up. I just randomly put stuff in places. And obviously there's way too much lettuce in here. When they get to just a little bit bigger than this, I'll come and thin them out.
This is the kind of thing that you would normally do in a seed tray, then prick out into a module, and
Yeah,
then...
lots of people said, oh, you should just be direct sowing lettuce. So I'm trying it, but I was being lazy because the seeds are so small. I was just like...
Oh, fair enough. So that is the raised bed garden. 3 beds, a nice selection of things. And of course we've got a whole load of other stuff in what we call the market garden, although we just grow this for ourselves. And we'll take a bit of a walk around there to show you what we've got going on, but also because we are looking for gaps to see where we can plant some other things, particularly all those pumpkins that I showed you earlier on. So let's do a quick tour of the main beds. So should we start in bed number 1?
We have some onion here that we planted pre-spring.
In the spring this year.
And one random potato plant that's coming up from last year's leftovers, obviously. Under this trellis is some spring onion, which was in the really first batch of seedlings. So seeded in February. They didn't do anything for a really long time. I didn't think they were going to work, but I just chucked them in the ground and now they seem to be coming fine. Then these two are loofahs. Again, they weren't doing so well in pots, but because the weather has cranked on with the heat, they're now loving it, and they will, when they get to like this size, then they'll start going crazy. So I'd say maybe in 3 weeks, they will be huge. So these two are pickling cucumbers, and this is some chard plus a potato plant from autumn last year maybe.
Yeah, overwintered.
And we've been, as they become charred trees, I've been taking them out and giving them to the chickens. So that yellow charred tree needs to come out. And then I think we have a gap here that we could put one of the squash in, either here, because when these come up, they'll come up and over. So it could go there, just don't know if we'll get enough sun. Otherwise it'll go right in the end and then it'll trail down that way.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So this bed mostly has stuff that we bought from the garden centre. When we thought that our tomatoes and everything weren't going to work, we're like, quick, we should go and get some stuff. And then we had some space at the bottom here. So I stuck in 2 sunflowers that we did from seed. This tomato plant is ours. That was an extra that I couldn't fit in the other bed. Then we have 4 peppers, 2 eggplant or aubergine. And the funny thing at the garden centre is they don't tell you the varieties here, so we don't know what type they are. I think they look like the black beauties, which we have somewhere else as well, just normal purple ones. And then this is all the tomatoes from the garden centre. We need to prune them because they're going a bit crazy, and we have not really done that. And then behind me we have, looks like mostly red onion. Oh no, half and half red onion.
Yeah, it's half and half.
Blue onion. That would be funny. Brown onion. And then we have our tomatoes. which have done surprisingly well given how sad they were.
Yeah, they did look really sad.
Yeah, this is another giant sunflower. These probably need pruning and staking as well, so we'll do that today.
And there's a mix of cherries,
Yeah,
heirlooms.
so these ones are black cherries. This, Galina, I can't remember. Some, I think this is the only one that's not doing very well.
Oh yeah.
He's looking a bit sad, that one. But they're starting to flower. I'm really surprised, really surprised.
I think we said that last year as well.
And this one, which is the same as one down there, when I planted it, it looked like an eggplant. And I was like, I've labelled it as tomato. It looks like it is going to be a tomato, but it's a really different variety. I don't think we've had this one before.
Very different leaf shape.
Yeah, really different.
I mean, they're all nightshades, aren't they? Tomatoes, aubergine.
Yeah, they're going to do well, I think. This bed, 6 courgettes. So we used some old courgette seeds, didn't seed at all. Sorry, didn't germinate at all. So I bought some new seeds and they all germinated. I have high hopes for lots of courgette.
Yes, we've had success with courgettes before, as do many gardeners, because they tend to be quite easy to grow. Interestingly, we had none at all last year, I think because of the old seed problem or the seed storage problem that we've talked about in a previous video. But also interestingly, as little as 2 or 3 weeks ago, we just finished all of our frozen courgette from 2 years ago. And that is when we had 3 courgette plants, 3 round yellow courgettes, and 2 normal shaped ones, the long ones, 1 yellow, 1 green. So this year we've got even more than that. And I have a feeling that courgette wine is going to be on the cards again.
Oh, you know what we haven't seen?
What's that?
I put in some marigolds.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they haven't made it. I don't even know where I put them.
There's nothing in the tomato bed that looks like marigolds.
No.
Unless they're in the other tomato bed. I didn't see them there though
No,
either.
there's a sunflower.
Moving on.
We have in here a mix of peppers and aubergine, or owls from seed, which again I really didn't think were going to take. They were so sad in the pots. This one is the one that overwintered from last year.
Oh yeah.
And in here there's some fruit already. So that's the difference with overwintering. Oops.
Ah, they look like little padrons.
Oh, that could
Oh no,
be.
no, that's some kind of capsicum.
Yeah, okay. So there's lots in here. And that just shows how far ahead of these guys, because they were in here at the beginning of the season and took advantage of all the hot weeks that we did have. So this is an aubergine. This looks like this Greek variety that we have.
Oh, the long light coloured one.
Yep.
Brilliant.
This looks like the Black Beauty, which is looks like the same as what we got from the garden centre. These two behind you there are also the Black Beauties. This guy doesn't look like he's going to make it.
No, I don't think so. There's a tomato there as well, right?
Yeah, I was just filling in with plants that were ready to go out, and I was just filling in all the gaps.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a couple of gaps here, and then we have one more Greek Tzatziki, I don't know how to pronounce it, that we'll put in here, the aubergine. I don't think we have any more tomatoes.
And then the final bed is just full of melony things.
Yeah, so I don't remember which one of these bottom ones, but the top 3,
They look like watermelon to me.
these are the sugar baby watermelons. So these apparently don't get very big and only have 3 to 4 melons come on them, unlike a watermelon, which has gazillion like we had last year. So I put these really close together. I have 1 more, 2 more. I think they're going to go in here, and again, they'll just be a little bit aggressively planted. So yeah, we don't have that many gaps.
I was about to say.
But let's show you where the actual squash and pumpkin are, because that's not in here. There are 4 butternut plants in here.
Are they all butternut?
Just these 4 in
Wow.
this first bed. But they are not looking very happy.
Good job, we've got at least another 3 to go in
Yeah.
somewhere.
So I will continue to just leave these ones here and see if they come good. It might just be that we've had some really hot weather recently. These are looking a little bit better. These are 2 other squashes. We do have an irrigation issue here, that this isn't working, so we'll fix that. I don't think it's a water issue because I've been watering these by hand. And then the potatoes, which, oh, there's some squash coming up in there. From last year, maybe.
What? Oh, goodness me.
Look at them all. Okay, so we've got some other squash coming up in here, which is self-seeded. What did we have in here last year?
I don't know. I was not expecting that. The potatoes don't look great, but I think this is what's supposed to happen when they're almost ready to harvest.
So we'll try and save these squash plants that are here. Oh yeah, the potatoes are ready to come out already. You can see this one.
Let me see. Oh wow, yeah, that's a good size. Wow.
More. But yeah, maybe our squash problem is about to get bigger.
Well, I tell you what, because we don't have a lot of space in the main beds, we might be able to put it in this area where we've tarped.
Because there's weed pressure under here.
Yeah, there is a bit.
I think we could make a little square here and put one here, and the same in the other bark patches over there. Is just make a little square, fill it with compost, chuck a plant in, see what happens.
Okay, so it sounds like we kind of have a plan when it comes to the squashes. We're going to essentially make some new tiny beds to put them into, and the plants will get big, so we want to put them towards the outside, I think, and then we can just train them off over the tarped area, or just train them somewhere to keep them out of the way.
Or if we took some potatoes out, we could put one in this end where there's nothing else.
Some potatoes or all the potatoes?
No, well, yeah, whichever.
We could just harvest all the potatoes and put them in here. Maybe we'll do that.
Maybe we'll do both.
Maybe we'll do
We have
all of
many
these
plants.
things. Ooh, that is a good size. Well, this is already better than last year's potato harvest. What's kind of interesting is I thought we'd been a bit too aggressive with the planting, like the spacing down here with these potatoes, but I'm getting some decent sizes. Look at that. I mean, there are some that are a really good size.
Also some good, like, new potato size.
Yeah. And we might have pulled these up a little bit early, but
Yeah, but we need the bed space.
we need the bed space and we don't need tons of massive potatoes.
No.
It's nice just to have a few.
And then crate of potatoes, that's not so bad.
Yeah,
And a bit more space for other things.
exactly. Oh, my back. Oh, that's quite a lot. I would say that's a good 10 kilos.
Good.
It's not bad.
So let's talk about our squash problem. Pumpkin problem. I think we've got one more space in the middle bed because one died from there. I think maybe two could go in here. If we made a little square here, then it can vine that way. I put a butternut there. We could put something in here and then vine it that way. That leaves us with 8.
8 more.
We may not need that many, just saying.
Well, there's loads of space down here because of this bark area.
Yeah, so we could put some squares strategically around the edge. So if I go and make 6 little squares
Yeah.
that we can move the bark out, we can use that compost that you're reclaiming, fill them up, and then we've only got a couple left. And then I could sneakily squeeze them in while you're not looking. So this timber is reclaimed from when we didn't have an inside toilet. I had made a little compost, what I like to call my pea bucket.
Please don't say that publicly.
For those emergency in the middle of the night toilet runs when you're living in a tent. But we don't need it anymore because we have flushing toilet.
Thank goodness for that.
So I pulled this apart a little while ago and now I'm going to reuse it. Made originally from the leftover deck boards from building this deck. So we'll start with those 45 pieces. I mean, this makes an interesting decorative
What, with a toilet seat cut out?
Right, so we'll put those two aside for last, hey?
So I think we can put it somewhere like that. Take the bark out. And even though it's a small square, the roots can go straight down into the ground underneath and then have access to all of this great soil that we've built underneath all the bark. And the reason I know this is because we've done something similar before. Not with these squares, but we just made some little square beds, just without the edging. Put a bit of compost down and put some squash plants in, and they went mental. They were huge, and we had some massive angel hair squash. No, not angel hair. Spaghetti squash. Some red curry. A big kind of bluey greeny one. I don't know the name of because the plants were a gift from a lovely person. And I have high hopes for these ones as well. And since we have 14 plants, if it doesn't work, I guess it doesn't matter.
So, my lovely people friends, this cat, not our cat, now our cat. We took her to the vet to get sterilised, and after we brought her back, she has decided she wants to be our cat. So, she's now our cat. She lives outdoors, not indoors with the other two, in our outdoor shower. And she has made home here quite nicely. Maka is not a fan. Ginger and her are friends. But yeah, so we now have 3 cats. 2 indoor-outdoor cats and 1 just outdoor cat. Her name is Cola. Because we had a Cola in the kitten batch, who's now been named Lua, owned by our neighbours now. And I thought I would reuse the name Cola because she reminded me of the Cola that we first had. It was also a little black and white girl. And she's very sweet. I think she was quite domesticated. I think she was probably abandoned at some point. And she has settled in quite well. Get out of the garden though. Hey, come on. Yes, come on.
Cats.
She's also not very obedient. Out of the garden beds. Come on.
It's quite warm.
The coolest day of the week, it's still quite warm.
Yeah, it is.
Almost finished, but there's a few stones and things in this one. But while I am just finishing this, I thought I would take the opportunity to chat to you lovely people about our members club. So we had someone recently, just this morning, was it? God, time flies. They were asking actually about a GoPro and filming and stuff. And we gave them some advice about a GoPro, but we also told them, oh, did you know that we have a how to make videos course in our club? And they were like, really? I thought it was just a gardening club. We're like, no, it's full of renovators, other people who are building their life in a new country. And so I thought I'd just share for a moment that that's what our club's about. We do gardening, we talk about gardening.
And cooking.
And cooking, and hemp plastering, and lots of other things.
We have a hangout once a month.
Someone's building a carport at the moment and sharing photos of that. Someone just did growing tomatoes in water, like hydroponic style. It was so cool. So yeah, and our new members are probably going to go and do the video course and then ask us loads of information about how to make better videos because they want to do more on their YouTube channel. There you go. Self-promotion over. Can we get some compost in here?
Whilst I go and get the compost, why don't you head over to makedogrow.com/club and then you can find out more about what Carly's just been talking about. So, Muscat de Provence, red curry, butternut squash. Well, we are almost done for our day in the garden, but there's one last thing that we forgot to show you when we were doing the tour earlier, which is the strawberry and asparagus bed. And I think there are some strawberries ready to harvest. So let's go check those out and maybe have a small snack. Aha, I see.
So I put some hoops in here with some, I don't know what you call it, metal stuff, wire
Metal stuff.
that I found in the
Somewhere.
collection of stuff that we inherited with the house. The netting is to keep the birds off.
And the cat's out.
Yes, that too. So we're picking, I'm picking, every other day at the moment, I think. I think I've said it before, we have 2 different varieties. These plants, which are massive, are some that we bought last year, yeah. And they're doing really well. Some of these asparagus are prolific, and then this one has just done 3, but super thick ones.
And that's also the one with the berries on it, so that
Yeah.
must make it male or female? Female, I
Male.
think.
Oh, whatever. Taste test. They're excellent. Tastes like strawberry.
How did I know you were going to say that?
It's very sweet. I already have about, in a big bag like this. I'm collecting them in the freezer, the ones that we don't eat fresh. And then I'll make something, cordial or jam.
Oh, yeah,
Strawberry
strawberry
wine.
jam we've not had before.
Strawberry wine.
I hear strawberry wine isn't as good as you might think it would be, so maybe not.
We're having it on ice cream, in our granola, all the ways that you can have strawberries.
So I think we're pretty much done.
Yeah, it's been a long day and it's beer o'clock time. We got the garden done for now. I did sneak in a couple of plants.
What did you sneak in? I wasn't even watching.
Exactly. They're all in the ground now. I think I have 3 or 4 left on the deck, which I might put into pots. But yeah, I'll be interested to see how these goes because these now rely on us hand watering, which means we have to have time, etc., etc. Hello.
So I guess that's it for now. We'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. See, because people like that bye-bye.
Yeah, they do. It's become a thing. Now I really need to pee.